Did you know that some of the silliest fads and strangest scandals happened during one of history's most disruptive revolutions? What bizarre crazes gripped France alongside the fall of their monarchy? Hello and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're taking a lighthearted blast to the past to discuss some of the hilarious things that went down during the super serious French Revolution. Now, we all know the French Revolution was a major turning point in history. Modern democracy was born. Tyranny was overthrown, heads rolled, literally. But behind the bloody battles and political turmoil, there were also some pretty silly moments. Weird fashion trends, crazy laws, and bizarre new customs. So buckle up your powdered wigs, grab some cake, more on that later, and join us as we explore the silly side of the oh-so-serious French Revolution. We'll discuss funky fashion fads, crazy new calendars, cake drama, and more. Who said world-changing political upheavals can't be fun too? Alright, on to our first topic, those gigantic powdered wigs. We just had to start with those insane hairdos, right? Funky fashion. Oh my, the funky fashions of the French Revolution era. As the aristocracy and fancy parts of the ancient regime fell out of favor, fashion trends went wild. Out with frilly gowns and frock coats, in with the common folks' simpler styles. But simple didn't mean plain or boring. Au contraire, revolutionary fashion let its, well, hair down, so to speak. Let's start with the gigantic powdered wigs worn by both men and women early in the revolution. Towering a foot or two over people's heads, these ostentatious hairdos looked straight out of a goofy costume party. Yet powdered wigs were a proud upper-class tradition. So while commoners shook their heads at the silly aristocratic do's, wig lovers clutched their towering mops of fake hair possessively. Until the wacky wig decree of 1795, that is. This law actually banned wig wearing as it was deemed too aristocratic, along with silk clothing and other fineries. Can you imagine a police fashion squad measuring the height of people's hair? Sorry, monsieur, your wig exceeds maximum legal height. I must confiscate it. Vive la République! With wigs and silk out, practical fabrics and natural haircuts were in. Women went for loose, draping Grecian gowns in cotton and linen, while the trendiest men sported unpowdered hair and striped culotte pants. Not exactly catwalk material, but très chic. Of course, with fashion, everything old becomes new again. And powdered wigs had a short comeback later on when their political associations faded, but they never reclaimed their full silly pre-revolutionary glory. All good things must come to an end after all, even wacky powdered wigs. Alright, on to another silly revolutionary icon, the new Republican calendar. Viva les weird dates. The crazy calendar. Ah yes, the infamously wacky Republican calendar introduced during the French Revolution. Goodbye Common Era, hello New Era of Liberty. This was part of revolutionary leaders' radical transformation of state, society, and culture after abolishing the monarchy. Out with the Gregorian calendar, seen as too Christian, and in with a brand new French Republican calendar to mark year one of their new epoch. And in with a brand new French Republican calendar to mark year one of their new epoch. And what a calendar it was. First off, instead of 12 months, there were 12 perfectly balanced 30-day months. 5 days at year-end were national holidays outside the calendar named things like Genius Day. Each month was precisely 3 perfectly balanced 10-day weeks called decades. The 10th day was a rest day to replace Sundays. Very logical, voila? But the silly revolutionary calendar wasn't just logically crazy. The new month names were creative, to say the least. Out went religiously named months, in came delightfully eccentric Republican replacements. Can we have a drum roll, s'il vous plaît? The new month names were as follows: Vendémiaire, Brumaire, Frimaire, Nivose, Pluviose, Ventos, Geminal, Floreal, Prairial, Messidor, Thermidor, Fructidor. Quite a mouthful, no? These weird month names were inspired by nature to reflect seasonal weather and agriculture, which makes some sense, until you try translating. For example, ventos refers to windy conditions, and pluvios means rainy. Can you imagine saying, oh dear, it's very pluviose today, I shall need my umbrella? But the eccentric calendar's silliness didn't stop there. It also introduced whimsical 10-day weeks that all began with Primidi, first day, Duodi, second day, Tridi, third day, and so forth. Could anything be more confusing? Imagine, let's meet for tennis at the Champ de Mars on the Quintidi next Floreal, Sacre Bleu. While the silly revolutionary calendar tried valiantly to catch on, it never quite did. After Napoleon's rise, it was soon abandoned for the comfort of the Gregorian calendar. But viva la revolution for trying to make time more fun. Up next, how revolting commoners took their anger out on Queen Marie Antoinette through vicious cake propaganda. Robespierre may have condemned cake eaters to the guillotine. The cake controversy. Of all things to spark controversy and protest during a bloody revolution, let them eat cake. Cake? Yes, friends, this humble dessert was at the center of a firestorm during French revolutionary fervor. And it was all because of one little phrase attributed to Queen Marie Antoinette, let them eat cake. That apocryphal yet inflammatory quip came to represent the monarchy's callous indifference towards starving peasants. While the queen likely never said such words, they stuck to her like frosting. French pamphlets soon depicted Marie Antoinette in her lavish gowns and plumed hats saying, let them eat cake, to crazed peasants asking for bread. These propagandist prints fueled anti-monarchist sentiment and hunger for revolution. To enraged commoners, fancy cake came to symbolize the decadence and obliviousness of the aristocracy. I mean, how clueless do you have to be to propose cake instead of bread to hungry plebeians? The unfeeling Bourbon queen basically sealed her fate with cake. The phrase, let them eat cake, became a trendy slogan for protesters. Angry pamphleteers and orators repeated it in tirades against Marie. French confectioners even named a new cake Gâteau à la Reine Antoinette, slyly referencing her inflammatory words. Of course, once King Louis XVI was overthrown and revolutionary leaders took over, they hated reminders of the old decadent monarchy. All that flowery cake and sweet delicacies were blamed for corrupting aristocratic morals and fomenting rebellion through starvation. Therefore, lawmakers like the fiery Jacobin Maximilien Robespierre condemned not just nobles, but even humble cake bakers and pastry sellers. Hardline legislation threatened fines and detention for enemies of the revolution selling royalist cakes or pastries. Not quite let them not eat cake, but close. Of course, average French folk didn't take this lying down, or I mean sitting politely. Support for sweet cakes and pastries ran too deep. Riots broke out over sugar shortages as bakers refused to switch to cheaper honey. So lawmakers begrudgingly rescinded restrictive anti-cake decrees to restore faith in the revolution's freedoms, albeit with strict price controls on those sticky moral corruptors' fancy cakes. Which goes to show history's supreme irony. Revolutionary leaders tried exploiting Marie Antoinette's apocryphal cake words as propaganda, only for real cakes to nearly undermine their new republic. Plus ça change, plus c'est la même chose. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Just like the eternal French love for delicious patisserie. And while the king and Marie Antoinette wanted to escape France, they couldn't, because in a time when there was no TV or social media, their faces were on the coins, making it impossible to do such a thing. Well friends, that wraps up our silly side tour of the dramatic French Revolution. Who knew behind such a serious political saga there'd be so many fun little footnotes? From funky fashion fads to a crazy new calendar to cake-causing controversy galore. Really puts the fun back in revolutionary, overthrowing tyrannical monarchs, no? Let us know in the comments if you want to see more blasts to the silly side of history. Until next time, au revoir from your favorite history hosts.